Today in QuXAT Talks, we have with us one of my childhood friend, Shiva Charan, Hosur Shiva Charan. He's the managing director of Blue Hawk Life Sciences Private Limited. He has substantial experience in pharma industry, and he is well educated into that field, and he has explored various ventures all through his career, and I'm really happy to have him. We are both childhood friends, and I've synced with him for a podcast to understand the pharmaceutical industry and the complexities surrounding that mysterious space. That's how I see it. So I'm really happy to have Shiva Charan joining with me on this podcast. Shiva?
Yeah.
Shiva, thank you for accepting to be part of the podcast, Shiva.
Yeah.
I would.
Okay, it's an honor actually.
It's a mutual honor.
Yeah,
Mutual
I
honor
understand.
for both of us. So I would want you to give a brief journey of yours from the time of your childhood. From this childhood time when we passed out from Science School and further on. From there on, how did you explore your career, and how did you reach the time on the space, the career space you are at present in? So you could start.
Before starting, I would really thank for having me. And this is a good series which you have started, with a lot of zeal. I can see so much positivity in this series. Anyway, so coming to my journey. So once I passed out of the school, I did my undergraduation in biotechnology, and then further I did my MBA. So I landed up in a job in Infosys. I was into more of business analysis and project management kind of roles. And then see that there is always this entrepreneurial bug inside me when I was doing my MBA itself. So I came back from the US within 4 years of my stint there. And then I just started off. I just jumped off the cliff. As someone said, the better way to start is to start itself. You just jump off the cliff. There is no right way to do it. So you think and you plan. You will still think and plan. You will never actually come into the action. So I came out of my comfort zone, took that leap and risk. I was married. That was just the first year of my marriage, and it was kind of a shocker for the family. And as you know, in this part of India, it's kind of taken that you go abroad, you settle there, and you don't have to look back and come back. So once I came back, my father asked me whether I had a problem with my boss, and I've resigned the job. So that's the kind of thing I have quit. And I would say I'm a traditional entrepreneur. Nowadays entrepreneurship is directly viewed as an idea entrepreneurship, based on some idea or surrounding internet, or idea surrounding some high tech, something like that. And but my entrepreneurship was a very traditional entrepreneurship, I would say. I have come out and started traditional businesses. I'm a first generation entrepreneur, and I started off with FMCG distribution, then retailing and of baby products, and then I have tried my hands, and of course I burned my fingers in agriculture. And then I had a good run in the retail business of baby and mom care in a tier 3 city, and then I on the retail side, my pharmacy exposure is we have a pharmacy a small pharmacy. And then, see, I always wanted to club the skills I have acquired both in my biotechnology and MBA. I always wanted to tap two major fields. That is, one is education and one is healthcare, which I see have a very good space for trying out and very good space for someone to start up, at least. I was so healthcare was always on my mind, and healthcare in a broader domain, and pharma and anything, your domain, hospitals and everything comes under healthcare, which has a huge good future, I believe.
Yep.
And that is where I teamed up with two other people who have good, very vast experience in pharma domain, and we started off Blue Hawk Life Sciences in the formulation space. So that's the journey so far in short.
Okay. Why Blue Hawk?
Okay, so Blue Hawk. One thing is, we love the color blue because of our affiliation in the school, and both ways Blue Hawk signifies prosperity, and the hawk is the higher in the food chain, and it is a majestic bird, which has a the perspective from the larger perspective. I meant to say. Yeah. So in that way, Blue Hawk made a lot of sense to us. Yeah.
So what are the key learnings of being in pharmaceutical business? What are the key learnings that you got till now?
Okay, so see, there are two things. One set of learnings are which any entrepreneur in any belonging to any field will have. You should have tremendous amount of tolerance to ambiguity, tremendous amount of grit, persistence. All these are regular traits of any entrepreneur in any business, I would say.
Yes.
Apart from that, specific to pharma, what I have observed is you have to be very sure and very clear that there are two key points: compliance and quality are the business drivers, both business drivers, and which will take you far. That is first thing you have to take in mind, keep it in your mind. And if it is part of your personality, you should get into pharma. Okay, that is one thing. And the second thing is the gestation period. Generally, what I've observed, if you take retail, if you take real estate, or if you take any other business, or probably hospitals, or any kind of business, probably the gestation period, the time from where you have put your capital to where you can see your profits coming in, probably is a little shorter. Whereas pharma, it's actually capital intensive, and also the gestation period is higher. So you should ensure that your finances are good and you have a good support system to get into pharma. And the third thing, when it comes to pharma, I would say my manufacturing business would be transparency and confidentiality towards customers is very key. You can't say you're a closed, not anymore. Previously the businesses, the pharma businesses ran in a very siloed and very secretive kind of approach. But whereas now it is appreciated and incentivized if you're more transparent and confidential, maintain the client confidentiality. So you have to throw open your facility for any client audits, any regulatory audits, and you have to have data trails maintained. That is the transparency part. The other part is the confidentiality is the key. You can't just say you make some development process or take some technology from a client, and you can't just share and mimic it and pass it on to everyone and make business out of it. So that's another key. So these are the 3 points I felt that are very, very crucial in pharma manufacturing business.
Okay. Especially what kind of takeaways, a few takeaways would you suggest to entrepreneurs are early stage startups in the pharma industry in the present business environment, especially the present regulatory framework. Probably some three top of the line takeaways that they need to be concerned about.
Yeah, see, generally what I've observed is there are two kinds of promoters in pharma business.
Okay.
One is a techpreneur or a person who is from the domain,
okay,
who envisions who feels that he can be on his own and start off. Mm-hmm. So for those kind of people, see, they are very science oriented. They're very they are good. They're domain experts. Mm-hmm. They're good at their subject, but what entails a business is much more than the tech, much more than the domain. There's a business part to it, there's a compliance part to it, there are a lot of things. So I would suggest any tech entrepreneur or the techpreneur who is starting, that team up with a person with a good business acumen and leaning, and also a person with good moral and ethical fabric and inclined towards compliance. That's very key. See, you can probably do it alone. In yesteryears, there are pharma giants started by single man, but I feel as we go along, the complexity of pharma landscape is so much in terms of compliance or in terms of audit requirements that you need to share your space with those experts. So the team forms a key in pharma business. It's you have to complement your skills. If you are a business person, complement it with a compliant expert or a tech person. So in the same, that's the first thing. And second thing is the compliance costs are going up every day. See, if you can start, say, the same business in 5 to 6 years back, if you start, you can start a business in X amount. Today, the same manufacturing of the same molecule takes at least 3x investment. Because the thing is, the way regulatory bodies are looking at us, the way world is looking at us. See, post-COVID, we have come into a limelight, and we have been a part of this China Plus syndrome concept, wherein the entire world is looking at us as a pharmacy of the world. Okay. So when we call ourselves the pharmacy of the world, we need to maintain those standards. So when you say standards, when you say quality, there's a cost involved. Okay. So you need to be ready for that and include those things into your business plan, into your pricing, into your business plan. Can you be competitive? Putting this, so those workings have to be done and clearly understood. And the third most important point, as I already told you, is the high gestation period of pharma business means that you should have that resilience. One thing, wait, you have done everything right, but it doesn't mean you'll get the fruits immediately. Okay. So you have to wait to go out there, and at least it takes 3 to 4 years to get your name spread across in the industry. So you have to wait for that, but definitely people will recognize if you have done a quality work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So in the present regulatory or policy framework from the governments, how are they helping the pharma industry, or are there any specific improvements that needs to be made in the present policy making or regulatory frameworks defined by the governments, various governments?
Yeah. Okay. So see, policy wise, I would say the pharma industry is governed by an act called Drug and Cosmetics Act 2023. Okay. And see, regulation wise, yes, there's a lot of regulation. There's a lot of good amount of policy, because we have this is a field which is across the world. So we generally take the guidelines defined by World Health Organization, and also because most of the pharma industries See, the maximum audits that happen for US FDA outside US is India.
Okay.
So we are not new to regulation. We are not new to policies, compliance policies. But see, government has been very the successive governments, I would say, have been very, very conscious about the image of India getting projected outside.
Okay.
So they have been tightening the regulations. So for one case in point would be presently. Before that, let me just define the pharma value chain for anyone who would want to know. The pharma value chain, as any other industry, there's a value chain. See, everything together bundled can be called pharma.
Yes.
But the value chain starts from the basic chemicals or the reagents which you have, and next comes the intermediates. Okay, next comes the advanced intermediates, and then next comes active pharmaceutical ingredients. And then these active pharmaceutical ingredients are nothing but, I would say paracetamol in the bulk form. They used to call these as bulk drugs previously, and now they are called active pharmaceutical ingredients. And these APIs go into what is called the formulations. So this is what we see as the drugs which we consume. So the formulations, the India has been very good in formulations. And it's the cream, it's where the lot of lies, and China has been a very strong player in APIs. Having said that, so the regulations are as you go up the value chain, the regulations are very tight, and that is how the policy has been built. So for example, if you want to start a formulations manufacturing industry today, previously the manufacturing license was under the jurisdiction of the local drug control administration. Whereas now the audit happens with DCA and the Central Drug Standard Control Organization, CDSCO. The combined audit then will result in your license after looking at your data. So the policies are there. And there are many, apart from, I will touch upon the regulatory bodies which we have to interact. For any regular industry like engineering or anything, you anyway have factories, fire and labor. These are very common. Apart from that, we have something called the Pollution Control Board, which gives us some consent for engagement and operations. And then the Drug Control Authority, which is state-owned, which is the local, which is a state-owned. And then we have Central Drug Standard Drug Control, Central Drug Control Organization, Standard Control, CDSCO. So these are the three key bodies. And apart from this, you have generally suppose you are exporting it to US. So you get an audit triggered from US FDA. Suppose so they come and audit, and because you are selling your drug is being sold in their market, they come and ensure that you are as per their standards. So the policies and the regulations are fine, but I think the paradigm shift has to come from a regulation and it has to shift towards incentivization. So the regulation is fine. Regulation is like you are proctoring an exam. You are trying to chase people, and you are trying to ensure. But in a free market and a perfect market, what it is today in a global scenario, incentivization works better. That's what I feel. Incentivization in the sense that, say, there are different levels of showing your compliance, accreditations like ISO. You have accreditations in pharma also, like you can get CGMP from the local CGMP's current good manufacturing practices certificate from the local drug control, and there is something called WHO CGMP. So that is according to the WHO norms. So I would say you increase the incentives like tax cuts, or probably encourage banks to give lesser interest credit to all these accredited companies, so that incentives will drive the promoters,
Right.
will drive the company to follow the procedures. See, now what one good thing what the government has done is now they have given a blanket notice to all the formulation makers, saying that you have to comply to WHO GMP norms, or else we will give a stop operations notice. And they have also forwarded some loans from their side, MSME side, to improve your facility.
Okay.
That's good, but what I would say is, suppose you would start giving these incentives, which will help the promoter to get that margin. See, quality will increase the cost. Implementing quality will definitely increase the cost. So to help the entrepreneur, even as a society, should collectively see, society collectively nowadays insists on quality, but are we appreciating the person who is quality conscious? Are we ready to incentivize a person who is quality conscious, is the question. So insisting, yes, good. You are raising all the red flags. You are making the authorities, complain to authorities and all that. But you have to be ready to incentivize the person who is quality conscious and ethical. So I think the policy has to shift their focus from policing or regulation to incentivization. So that's the thing I think the policy should be driving to.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point, Shiva. I think that needs to get into the ears of policymakers, saying that quality needs to be encouraged. There has to be an active encouragement towards a quality culture or a quality movement across the pharmacy. Not only pharmaceutical, any industry that needs to embrace quality needs to be encouraged in a substantial manner. Not it should be on the field, it should be felt, right? I think.
Yes. Tell me.
One key part I would want to understand: how does the world view Indian pharma industry and the products that are produced in India, in your opinion?
Okay. See, world views us, yes, as a better alternative in terms of cost, but quality still they have their doubts. Given it's not their fault. It's definitely not their fault. But we have very bad examples previously, wherein there are companies which have been really doing well and which have been the classic case. I think I can take it in public now because it's all out there. The classic case is the rise and fall of Ranbaxy. There was a whistleblower, and the entire company came down crumbling because there was no data at all. They were doing all. So what I would say is, given these examples and the most recent DEG poisoning in cough syrups in Gambia by one of the exporters in India. So these shed a little poor light on, what I would want to see the industry to be as a both cost effective and quality conscious alternative, rather than just a cheap alternative for their So that is the path we should look at. But now world looks at, yes, there are very good companies. You have Dr. Hamid from Cipla. There are good companies who have made a very good mark, saying that I can give you quality drug with a cheaper price. His famous AIDS drug, which the US aid used for distributing in South Africa, is a classic example of Indian quality systems and also Indian way of giving it in an affordable way. So those should be the role models, and that is where, what I said initially, the transparency. So the moment you open up yourself for any audit, and the moment you are very clear and transparent, I think world will look at this in a different way, in a more confident way and a more trustworthy way. So now I see that there is a slight amount of suspicion or slight amount of doubt with which the other bodies like, auditing bodies like FDA or Anvisa from Brazil, they look at us. So I would say that the industry should reach a point wherein just having a stamp from our CDSCO should suffice to export to the other markets. That's the quality standards we have to reach.
Okay.
Yeah,
I would want to understand one thing that normally many people would have or want to start a pharma company. What is the approximate financial outlay that is required, or a budget that is required to start a pharma company, and how does it stratify, like small, medium, big, or how do you stratify the organizations, and how do you what is the financial outlays that are required, approximate financial outlay required for a small or a medium or a large? How do you stratify that, and what is your take on that? Approximates.
Yes. There are different models presently in pharma domain. One is like, you just have a contract research organization wherein you just help the company, your client, in developing a molecule.
Okay.
Be it a formulation, be it an API, you help, be it advanced intermediate, you help your client in developing that molecule and do a tech transfer. Okay. So that is a very small model someone can envision to start.
Okay.
If you have the right domain expert, or you yourself are a domain expert. Okay. So you can start a small CRO that would just require a couple of crores, 2 to 3 crores based on your your appetite. See, what I would say is pharma is very capital intensive, and that's a caveat I want to give. Pharma is very capital intensive, and it's very tough for the first generation entrepreneurs. But I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm not saying it's not possible.
Okay.
Suppose you are a domain expert, it becomes more easier.
Yeah.
So you can get some investors to fund your family, friends, or someone to fund your project and start in a small way as a CRO. If you have some novel molecules, that's good.
Like, what is the approximate investment that is required to start a CRO kind of a thing? What is the
CRO? I think
lower limit.
Yeah, that's what lower limit would be. That's what money. I was saying it. The lower limit itself start with crores. A couple of crores, or 2 crores, or 3 crores is what.
Yes.
Yeah, we are looking at, because CRO nowadays. I'll tell you what. When you ask the regulation part. Previously, for manufacturing, say, I accepted one kind of environment in the manufacturing production area. Now it is no more acceptable. Okay, I have to upgrade it to for example, there is something called ISO 8. Okay, ISO 8 standards define the rooms, the clean rooms, we call the clean rooms in my production area.
Yeah.
So when I have to graduate from this to this, my cost grows at least 3x. Okay. So the lab does not require clean rooms, but the more you move towards compliance, the higher the investment. So to answer your question, yes, CRO, probably you can start with 1 crore in a very small way and probably graduate slowly. But the time required to scale it up would be higher. Okay. Then comes contract research and manufacturing organization, CDMOs. Okay. That contract development and manufacturing.
Okay.
So generally, most of the companies in India operate in this space, CDMO, even the bigger companies. So, and before that, let me tell you one thing. I wouldn't say none, probably majority of the companies, we operate only in branded generics and generic space. Okay. We very few or very, I don't even know which companies have. We do not have patented drugs much. Okay. We generally, the major companies, the Reddy's, Arbindo's and Heteros, all these major companies look for drugs which go out of patent, and they file something called an ANDA, abbreviated new drug application, in the US market, and then they get an exclusivity, and that is how we manufacture. We either have branded generics or generics. That's the formulation industry I'm talking about. Okay, so if you want to start a CDMO which caters to domestic market based on your dosage form profile, if you're going for oral solid dosages, you would require somewhere around 4 to 5 crores for a very less startup which caters to domestic market.
Okay.
So if you're going higher compliant markets which you want to cater, like the US or Brazil or even Middle East also has a reference as US FDA, so or Europe FDA, EU FDA. If you're going to these markets, then your investments go up into tens of crores. If you're just looking at the rest of the world, ROW markets, or a semi-regulated markets, probably you can finish off within 5 to 6 crores kind of yeah. I'm telling only for the OSDs, the oral solid dosages. So if you're going for injectables, that's more sterile, more compliant. So as I said, the entry barrier is higher for first generation entrepreneurs. That's the part. But this is where I think the regulation in one way has to encourage first generation entrepreneurs, and the government should create an infrastructure like how China does.
Okay.
China has an edge in terms of providing an ecosystem for entrepreneurs in two ways. One is the infrastructure. Second is the cost of capital. See, when it comes to infrastructure, when I said CRO, right? China would have a park dedicated for building a CRO, and actually the government builds the infrastructure entirely, and the entrepreneur just leases it out. Okay. So the initial capex is reduced so much, and even the loan is offered at some 0.5% or something like that, wherein we have a loans here running from 9 to 11% in India. Okay. So whereas the cost of capital, that's the interest rate on the capital given for entrepreneurs, is somewhere around 0.5%.
Okay.
So these are the policies which the government can take into account to encourage first generation entrepreneurs to enter pharmaceutical industry. Yeah.
I just have a very brief question, Shiva. In your observation of the Indian market, how conscious are Indian customers to quality drugs? What is your opinion on that, and what is your observation with reference to this?
Yeah, you have touched a right point, which I have actually previously maintained. You previously mentioned that even as a society, we should collectively not only ask for quality, but ready to incentivize and also pay that little extra. Probably. Yes. See, when you need the problem with, I wouldn't see the problem. See. Yeah, India is a country with, I would say, at least somewhere I've read wherein we have 180 million people, having 84 rupees per day as their earnings. So see, quality comes with a cost.
Yes.
Yeah, that cost has to be absorbed by the customer. But if customer is not able to bear that, I cannot say that he's not entitled to get cured of suffering or his pain or have a better quality of life.
Yes.
So that is where the collective society comes into play. And that is in a democracy, collective society is nothing but your government.
Yes.
So that has to be offset by the government. Of course, they are doing it by price regulation. We have certain drugs enlisted under price regulation, but what that would happen when you regulate the price is you are controlling the top line. So to have my bottom line maximum margin, what I would do is I would cut corners as a manufacturer. So instead, Instead, the outlook should be that yes, the quality, the society and the government has to accept that yes, quality comes with a little bit of cost,
Yeah.
and that cost has to be absorbed. Either it's the customer or the collective society, which is the government.
Yeah.
So then I would say that it is achievable. If you want the manufacturer to both give quality and lower price, which is a kind of misnomer, it is difficult to achieve. And I would say, the definition of quality is very clear. Today the pharma industry is a proper ethically run pharma company is QA centric. QA is quality assurance centric. So, and it's not even sales centric. It's not even production centric, but it's mostly quality assurance centric. The norms are very clear.
Okay.
But if I follow the norms, the cost of the product obviously increases. So the companies which are following these quality norms to sustain, they are entirely depending on exports. Okay, wherein the other countries, both these systems exist, wherein the consumer understands that it comes with a cost, and the government is ready to offset or subsidize for the quality. So when you say the perception of the society, yes, we are very cost conscious. That's not wrong. That is because we come from that background. We have been in poverty and under someone for around 400 years. So and it entirely changes the collective psyche of a country. See, I'll tell you a small example. In US market, there is nothing like a shampoo sachet. They don't have these small shampoo sachets. The packing becomes bulkier there. You have liters of or something like that. But whereas Indian markets, the fast moving SKU would be the sachets. Because yes, we are that way. We are a country which is trying to regain our prosperity. That is well understood, but it has to be innovatively addressed by the elected representatives. That how can we cross-subsidize and still have quality drugs? So I wouldn't definitely find fault with the patient or the customer seeking cheaper drugs or cheaper healthcare. I think you would agree that even in terms of hospitals, the more compliant or NABH accredited I should be, the cost of treatment obviously rises. Suppose there's a rule that I have to maintain the facility or mop the facility 2 hours every 2 hours. I need that staff, so that increases my cost.
That's true. Yeah.
So that's my take on how society should view quality.
Shiva, I think you have given a complete idea about the pharmaceutical industry and its complexities and pitfalls and how to navigate the space. We will take a closure on this on this podcast, and I would probably have a different podcast with you in further exploring the space. Okay.
Oh, thank you so much, and thank you very much for having me and providing this platform, Mani. And you're doing a great job with multiple things. I think you very well understand about the compliance because you are doing that at grassroots levels.
Anyways,
all the best for your ventures.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Let us close this. Sure. Take care. Bye-bye.
Yeah, sure. Bye.